to a new video in our collaborative YouTube series on Caribbean literature. Today we're going to be focusing on an essential and powerful aspect of this literary world, which I'm so honored to be representing, and that is Caribbean women writers. These authors have been absolutely instrumental in both shaping and challenging the narratives surrounding gender roles, race, and identity in the Caribbean. Through works that resist colonial and patriarchal structures, they've completely redefined the role of women in literature and ultimately all over the world. In this video, we'll explore the contributions of some of the most important Caribbean women writers, using the Routledge Reader in Caribbean Literature as a base to analyze their critique of gender and their push for social change. Let's go. At the beginning of the 20th century, colonial ideologies were deeply embedded in Caribbean society. And one example of how these beliefs permeated the culture is Herbert de Lisser's Planter's Punch, which is a popular Jamaican magazine that was founded in 1920. And while de Lisser used the publication to make his novels accessible to a broader audience, the magazine's portrayal of women reflects the colonial and patriarchal values of the time. Don't get me wrong, these magazines included some poetry by women, but its portrayal of women was mainly concerned with their physical appearance and often idealized the European female body. The Black Jamaican woman, however, was either completely absent or relegated to negative stereotypes, and they used phrases to describe them like the black perspiring black cook or the kindly old black nana. And these portrayals erased the complexity of Black women's lives and silenced their voices, reducing them to cartoon-like characters rather than legitimate subjects of inquiry. However, this would not go unnoticed because powerful women writers in the Caribbean began to speak out against the limiting and damaging portrayals of women in media and in society. One such author was Una Marson, a Jamaican poet and feminist who became known for her critiques of colonial beauty standards and her advocacy for Black women's visibility. In fact, she was BBC's first Black producer, and in their series Calling the West Indies, she launched a new segment that featured poems and short stories by Caribbean authors. And also, in one of her notorious articles titled Miss Jamaica, Marson openly criticized the magazine's promotion of European beauty standards, suggesting that the title of Miss Jamaica should go to a woman who truly represented the majority of Jamaicans. And this was an important call to recognize Black women's beauty as part of the national identity. While Marson challenged the racialized beauty standards, two other poets, Louise Bennett and Merle Hodge, also reshaped the representation of Caribbean women in literature. Both writers explicitly engaged with Caribbean female identity, but their works did more than just define it. They rejected the imposed versions of femininity that came with colonialism. Bennett, who wrote in Jamaican patois, gave a voice to Jamaican women and celebrated their wit, their strength, and their cultural roots. By reclaiming and celebrating the dialect of her people, Bennett defied the cultural norms that sought to erase or to denigrate these voices. And by writing in dialect, she gave voice to the working class women who were often excluded from mainstream literature. Her poetry was revolutionary because it empowered Jamaican women and portrayed them as the wonderful, complex beings that they are. And in doing so, she broke free from the colonial frameworks that wanted to silence Caribbean voices, using literature as a tool of resistance. Beyond Una Marson and Louise Bennett, there are many other Caribbean women whose works I find personally very interesting because of the themes they tackle, so I will be recommending these works, and they also have had a profound impact on both the Caribbean and global literature. Let's take a look. First up, we have Merle Hodge, a Trinidadian author who is known for her exploration of how gender, race, and Caribbean identity intersect. And I'm not going to give any spoilers in case any of you are interested in reading, but in her novel Crick, Crack, Monkey, Hodge presents the coming-of-age story of a young girl called T, who is being made socially acceptable by her aunt so that she can cope with the caste system of Trinidad. In this book, she is dealing with the complexities of gender expectations, colonialism, and family dynamics in post-colonial Trinidad. Hodge's narrative voice is very engaging and she questions societal norms and expectations. If you are interested, check it out. Next in line, we have Jamaica Kincaid, born in Antigua, and she is known for her exploration of identity, colonialism, and the relationship between mothers and daughters. Her novel, Annie John, written in 1985, details the growth of a girl in Antigua, which is a little island in the Caribbean, and it covers issues as diverse as mother-daughter relationships, same-sex attraction, racism, clinical depression, poverty, education, and the struggle between medicine based on scientific fact and that based on native superstitious know-how. I found these themes extremely unique yet touching and powerful. Through her works and autobiographical prose, Kincaid gives voice to women who navigate personal and cultural conflict. And finally, we have Sylvia Wynter. She is a Jamaican novelist, dramatist critic, and also an essayist. Her writing is marked by an intellectual engagement with the ideas of human identity and the concept of the colonial subject. She examines how colonialism dehumanizes and distorts the lives of Black people. In her book, The Hills of Hebron, written in the late 1950s on the cusp of Jamaica's independence from Britain, is a strongly anti-colonial novel that tells the story of a group of formerly enslaved Jamaicans as they attempt to create a new life and assert themselves, impose themselves against the colonial power. This one is a bit of a harder, more academic, and overwhelming read as described by many reviewers, but it is beautifully layered and definitely worth the read. These authors, though often overshadowed by more well-known figures like Una Marson, Louise Bennett, have made important contributions to the 20th century Caribbean literature and are crucial to understanding the literary history and development of female voices in the Caribbean. This was all for me today. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of women's voices in Caribbean literature. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the rich and diverse world of Caribbean literary contributions. In our channel, we have many videos about Caribbean literature that I am sure you're going to enjoy. See you next time!